So before I met you, Kris, as you know, our organization did not have a marketing engine. We were practically at a zero, and this marketing world was new for us. So I mean, I went in actually with a blank slate, right? And I was able to, the reason for me to contact you is because you stood out in that crowd full of marketing professionals within the Siemens partnership program, and I knew that you were the most knowledgeable marketing individual in that room. So, I had it as a point to basically approach you and talk to you, and you're really personable, right? So that's how it happened, and I basically wanted somebody like you to, you know, lift our organization off the ground, give it a shape, establish processes, which is exactly what you've done in a record time. So two things. First, I mean, honestly, in many situations, you seem more knowledgeable than the trainers, right? It may sound a little cheesy, but that's the truth, right? So you were helping out the trainers. I also saw you helping out other marketing leads from other companies, right? So that's, I mean, you stood out, Kris, in a room of like 25 really good, experienced marketing leads, right? And that's the first thing. The second thing is you also seemed really friendly and approachable. That also stood out from other marketing folks. I mean, so yeah, so these were the two things that really stood out and jumped out at me and said, we should partner with Kris. For us, I can speak for ourselves, right? So for us, it's important because regardless of how talented an individual is, at the end of the day, the energies don't align. If the individual is not personable enough to work with the various personalities in our organization, there is no point in doing business. I mean, that's how we think. And as you know, our organization is really diverse, and we have folks, here in the U.S. and folks from the Middle East and India and a lot of different places. So we need somebody who is genuine and also who is personable and who can work with, has the maturity to work with various characters in our organization. Right? So yeah, I mean, without it, I don't think you could have made the difference that you have made in the last 1 year. I can tell you that. To be very honest, uh, we did not even have the framework to have expectations for marketing. I mean, that's how, yeah, how much backward we were, right? We had no idea how to even set expectations for marketing. The only thing that we had in our minds was we had this LinkedIn account that had less than 20 followers at the beginning of 2020, and we wanted to have at least 50 because that was the minimum for us to number for us to gain some marketing benefits from a major channel partnership. So if we look at those numbers, at the end of 2020, we had 1,100 followers, right? And that's number one. The second thing was we had no framework or structure for email campaigns, right? So we wanted the automated email campaigns to go out, and which basically met those Siemens minimum required numbers, which is at least 3 to 4 campaigns a month minimum, and keep me honest here. And so obviously we exceeded expectations. In marketing, we stood in the top 10 of Siemens channel partners, and they have huge channel partners, including Accenture and the likes. And the fact that we, exceeded their expectations and stood out in the crowd of with such giants itself speaks for itself. And revenue, obviously we met our revenue targets from a marketing and sales integration standpoint. Actually, we exceeded it. So at the beginning of the year, we did not have an integrated marketing and sales engine. And now we not only have an integrated process, our sales folks are able to do it end to end in a seamless fashion, based on the leads that they're getting from you and your efforts. So the one thing, before I even get into this detail, the one thing that really, helps me personally is is I know that you value time. There are very few people who I have met who value time so much, right? You value your time so much and you value others' time. And to me, that's a hallmark of a success right there. So so what I've noticed with you is you use the least amount of time that is required off of you and also off of your team members, but generate and create the most impact. That is what I have seen, right? And obviously, I think it stems from your leadership abilities and your ability to use your time in the most effective way, right? And it quickly became apparent for us that the way you were conducting yourself, building marketing campaigns is one thing, but the way you were conducting yourself and also the way you were giving us ideas proactively, right? And all of those ideas are proved to be winning ideas. So we were able to successfully use your ideas not just for marketing but also in sales. You helped us with hiring the right salespeople. You helped us with giving accurate feedback on our salespeople, and you helped us with hiring decisions. And we could see that those recommendations from you made a big overall impact, and that's the reason why we actually started involving you in every aspect of leadership. We all tremendously value your advice, and the recent example being the hiring of a senior sales person who is expected to make an impact in this year. First thing is managing a very important partnership relationship with Siemens. And a lot of our revenue comes from our relationship with Siemens, and you're able to. And before you came on board, it was a really rough road for us. Because our org did not have the maturity with all of the marketing expectations that they had for us. So that's the first thing, right? The second thing is the automated email and social media campaigns that you did for us. Obviously, we were super happy. I mean, now we take all of that for granted because you are contributing a lot in other areas with leadership advice and counseling, right? So these were the things that really stood out for us. So the first half of the year was all about, taking us from A to B, which is from a zero marketing to, lifting us off the ground, having these email and social media campaigns, integrating the sales and marketing process. But the second half of the year was where we saw the real value with, engaging with you in terms of the overall business growth, not just from a social media and an SEO standpoint. A good question, Kris, and the short answer is it works. Because I can speak for ourselves, it did for us, right? All of the visibility that comes to a company from a solid marketing, establishing a solid brand out there. Even though at first you may not see immediate results in terms of sales, eventually you will realize that a lot of the your lead conversion rate immediately starts going up, right? Well, I mean, I think it should be an easy decision to make because it works, because it did for us. So first thing is it's all about building a company brand and marketing, and not just any kind of marketing, a solid marketing, with somebody like you who understands not just marketing but also the context of the company, and you do a thorough competitor analysis, right? I've seen many marketing analysts, they treat it more like a technical job, but you rise above that and you look at what others are doing and you bring all of that knowledge into not just marketing but also into sales, and we'll discuss that a little later. But so it should be an easy decision for a company because they can see their brand value going up, and they can also start to see their leads conversion rates will start to go up. So just a couple of years ago, we had no social media presence, or we had no marketing, right? And our conversion rates at that time, were drastically different. Whereas now with all of the webinars and all of the social media activity and leads that you generate, uh, we start to notice that a lot of those are going up. So it should be an easy decision for us. One advice that I would have for other entrepreneurs though is, have a fixed budget in mind, right? And which you will help them with, obviously, like you did for us. But my only advice is allot a certain budget for marketing and see for yourself, right? So, and you will, and I'm pretty sure you can see it in 6 to 8 months that it is working. So, my expectations, Kris, for us is first, I mean, I realized, right, towards the later part of the last year that you add so much more value to any company with your business acumen. So my expectation and plan, I mean, obviously it should work for you and you should like it, and it's a collaborative effort, is to make sure that all of the technical work is done by somebody, some junior individual or individuals who should be able to continue what you're doing, right? And basically partner with you at a larger level on how we can grow the company, take it to the next level, right? So going from $0 to $2 million, with some hustle and with the connections that we have is easy, I think, right? If you're doing the right thing, but going from 2 to 10 is a different ball game, right? So that is where we are at now, right? So now this year is going to be scaling. How we got to this X amount of revenue per year, and how do we scale from here, right? And I think you fit this scenario like a glove because you have seen the industry, you've seen other companies do it, and you have the business acumen to give us the right advice to move it to the next level. So before you joined us, none of us had I'm giving you a quick example, quick and dirty example of running a webinar, right? None of us had the experience to do it, number one, and none of us are able to do it as well as you do, right? So even with training, I don't think any of us are able to do it. So, and we started to notice the quality of leads coming through these webinars and through your marketing activity that we never had. So, we had, word of mouth, and word of mouth can only go so far, right? Whereas we are doing a webinar with the right set of people, and you coach us into building the right set of panel members for webinars, and, including the FDA team members and executives from other pharmaceutical companies, right? All of that added a lot of value, and we could see that. I mean, we could clearly see that. And also towards the end of the year, it was clear that what we have done in 2020 was just, a foundation was laid. And obviously it was very clear that, if we went in this direction, we could be a lot more aggressive with our goals, right? For example, we actually increased revenue expectations by about 1.5 times than the original planned revenue, the last 5 years, right? We have a 5-year plan, we have a yearly plan, and we increased it just because of all of the action that we saw in the last year. But again, I want to highlight the high points, right, that I personally see as an entrepreneur is, I enjoy doing business with somebody who values time and who is personable and who has a ton of business acumen. And it's hard to find all of these in one individual, right? And who is also technically capable. It is really hard to find all of this in one individual. And, if someone has a technical capability, he may not be personable, right? If he is personable and technically capable, he may not value time as equally as you do, right? So that's what I always tell my partners is, hey, if you want all of this is one individual, look no further than Kris, and I mean it when I say that.